Hi, I'm Marilyn, the two-tip lady who loves to make your life more simple. Got a question for you. Do you have kids who are picky eaters that pull awful faces sometimes when you put the food in front of them? Well, you know, we might think that that's really, really rude, but they don't. They quite automatically look and go, yuck, yuck, I don't want to eat that stuff. And the battle starts. So, if your home becomes a battle zone, what are some ways that you can deal with this so that they don't grow up as picky eaters and so that mealtime is a happy time? So my first tip is this. When you come to the table, this is what you need to do. Turn the TV off. Turn your devices off. Why? Aha, because you've got to make mealtimes a happy time. A time everyone looks forward to because they're having such a good time they forget about something that they don't like that's on their plate. Do you think that's even possible? Well, I know it is, because it's worked in our home. Now, institute the NWA rule that means no whining allowed. NWA. Well, actually, that's not just for meal times, that's for any time. Now, if meal times are to be happy times, put all those devices away, no listening or watching to other things, and spacing out and letting your kids eat all by themselves while you pretend you're there, but you're only there in body. No, that's not what to do. Turn that TV and those devices off. This is what we used to do many years ago when we lived in an ancient rainforest, and our 3 young girls loved being there. There was never a dull moment. No school to go to, but we educated them at home. We found at one stage that mealtimes were becoming not really a battle zone, but very dull and very boring. So we said, you can only come to the table and eat if you have something really interesting to share, something you've learned today out of a book, or something you've observed out in nature, or something you've thought up. Well, when they'd come to the table, you'd be surprised what amazing conversations we had about all sorts of things. Now, if your kids are too little for that, here's something you can do. Tell them, when you come to the table, when Mummy calls you, you have to tell me something funny, or something that you love, or something that you'd like to do one day. And if your child is too little even for that, then you may need to do what we did. When finally our son turned up, when all our girls were grown and gone, he was such a busy little man, he didn't want to take the time to eat. So distraction was the key. I'd have a little pile of things hiding behind me, just small toys, and before boredom and frustration would set in, I'd pop another one onto his tray and pull faces and tell stories with great sound effects, because that helped too, because distraction is the key for the little fellows. The point is, we tried to make mealtime such fun that the food got eaten and we were all happy, and that way the job got done. All right, that's my first simple tip for getting your kids to stop being picky eaters, or never to become picky eaters in the first place. Turn off your TV and your devices. Right, you got that one. Well, my second tip is this. Get your timer. Set it for 25 minutes. Now, when I was a kid, I would sometimes really hate something that was on my plate, and I would sit there for what seemed like forever, with one mouthful in my mouth, refusing to swallow it. Mum would be exasperated, saying, just swallow it. Big brother and sister would goad me on, and my stubborn self would dig my heels in even more. Meal times were often miserable. But what if they'd done this? Don't make a big deal of it. Don't make a fuss. The more you make a fuss, the more they love you, or the more the child hates you. So if you don't want that, just simply quietly take the meal away and say, that's it, good, all done. Nothing till the next meal. Wow, if you make a big deal about it, I'll tell you what, there's going to be whining and gnashing of teeth and wailing and all sorts of horrible things. And they'll go on for years. So don't do it. What was our first tip to stop kids from becoming picky eaters? turn those gadgets off, and have some fun conversation. We learned so many interesting things, and it was great fun finding just what each kid thought was fascinating from what they had learned that day. Sometimes, you see, they learned things that I wouldn't even be a bit interested in, but they were fascinated, so we got to know our kids better too. So with the TV off, and mealtime's a happy time, you'll be having such a happy time that kids will hardly notice the odd food that isn't their favourite. If they don't want to eat their meal, that's okay. 25 minutes later, away goes the food till next time, and you're not harping, swallow that mouthful. The food goes away, finished or not. So what's the second tip, remember? 25 minutes and the food goes away. No fuss. Whether it's eaten or not, it simply disappears. No threats, no warnings, no misery. Believe me, if they don't eat at all, it isn't going to hurt them. Next meal, I guarantee they'll really get stuck into it. It'll go down the hatch without a fuss. Those are my 2 simple tips for today if you've got kids in the family. Try them, and your lives will definitely become more simple and happy. That's it, from the 2-tip lady who loves to help make your life more simple.